Welcome back. We begin from Sochi, Russia, where President Akufo-Addo has been touting the economic potential of Africa in the midst of a continental free trade agreement. Addressing African heads of state at the Made in Russia Africa Summit, President Akufo-Addo said the agreement holds good prospects for trade relations between Africa and Russia.
According to the World Bank, 6 of the world's 10 fastest growing economies this year, including Ghana's, are in Africa. The continent is rich in natural resources and in possession of 30% of the Earth's remaining mineral resources. She has a vibrant young population, and though there are still important security challenges, she's more at peace than before. The African Continental Free Trade Area, which will cover a market of 1.2 billion people, with a combined GDP of some $3 trillion United States dollars across the 54 member states of the African Union, is now in force. With Ghana playing host to the Secretariat, the AFCTA holds excellent prospects for trade relations between the continent and Russia. In all of this, we recognize that peace, security, and development walk in tandem. If the African continent is to take its rightful place in the world, it has to shed its image of instability, overcome the wars that plague us, and create societies of opportunities for our citizens, especially our youth. For us in Ghana, our resolve is to build a value-added industrialized economy with a modernized agriculture, trading in the global marketplace on the basis of things we make and grow, and to chart our own self-reliant, independent path within the world economic order. We believe that effective cooperation with Russia will help us attain this goal. Indeed, we want our relations with Russia to be characterized by an increase in trade and investment cooperation, and not by the export and import of raw materials. This, we believe, is the way to develop healthy relations between our two countries. Our vision is to build a free, prosperous country, a Ghana beyond aid, as a dynamic component of an independent and prosperous Africa.
Government is intensifying efforts to beef up cybersecurity through engagement with CEOs of state organizations. This, according to the National Cybersecurity Advisor, Dr. Entry Boisiako, has become urgent to ensure safe transactions on government platforms as state institutions go digital. Dr. Entry Boisiako has been speaking to Joy Business at the government CEO's cybersecurity engagement here in Accra.
According to the National Cybersecurity Advisor, Dr. Albert Entry Boisiako, there's an urgent need for state institutions to pay key attention to issues of cybersecurity and hygiene with the emergence of government's digitization agenda. Initiatives such as the e-procurement, the e-justice, digitization of land registration, and plans of having all payments to state institutions done cashless are examples of the digital transformation. Speaking at the government CEO cybersecurity workshop, the National Cybersecurity Advisor emphasized more security awareness to support these initiatives.
There are serious concerns with respect to cybersecurity, whether attacks from external actors or even insiders, and therefore CEOs ought to put the necessary mechanisms in place. For example, if you have a representative from, the passport office, there's an agency, they are going digital, passport application has been made, online. What is the state of cybersecurity around their infrastructure in terms of, citizens sending their data, filling forms, and providing their personal information to them? There ought to be certain analysis to address that. Internally, what is the state of their cybersecurity readiness in addressing them? So this forum is essentially to raise the awareness on the need to, complement the current development with cybersecurity efforts.
The workshop saw some CEOs and directors of state institutions enlightened on the state of cybersecurity, as well as ways of stepping up cybersecurity in their institutions. Managing Director for the State Interest and Governance Authority noted that to ensure compliance, assessing the level of cybersecurity of state institutions will be included in assessing overall performance of the various institutions.
That we would be looking at negotiating with them how we measure their implementation of these the fine ideas we are coming up with, so that it just doesn't become a talk show and we all go home and forget about it. No, I need to find a way to put it into the contracts so we can measure what security measures have you taken to protect data, to protect your financials, to protect your operations, and so that and sometimes even your IT systems, how many the computers they are networked, is there a security system protecting it? Some of them don't care about security, or they bought it the first time they bought the computers and have the infrastructure put in place, but they don't renew them. And it then becomes open for attacks. So we need to find a way to measure and to monitor that it's constantly, you're on top of the security around your cyberspace.
For Joy Business, Sheila Tamaklo reporting.
Now, about 80% of shops are said to have been closed in one of Accra's largest shopping malls over high rent charges. Joy Business's Fedo, who visited the mall this morning, says a square meter is going for about 28,000 Ghana cedis a month.
The Accra Mall, about 80% of the shops have been closed down. Some of the workers are stranded and they are sitting down. The shop owners today, we understand, are closing their shops. It's happening right now. You can see is some renovation works is currently taking place. Based on these renovation works, actually, the shops are finding it difficult for customers to enter into their shops to make purchases. And one very intriguing issue is the fact that some shop owners or those who rent shop in this particular facility says they pay close to 20,000 to 30,000 Ghana cedis monthly. And when they default by a day, their lights usually goes off. That is what they are alleging. And according to them, management really want to increase the cost of rent here again, and they are really against this any form of increment from management. A number of shops have been closed down, and this is the Samsung shop. This shop is also closed down. The Telefonica shop is also closed down. The workers are right here. They can't really enter and do business today. I want to have a word with some of them and know why today really they are not operating. And gentlemen,
Please, I don't have any.
no, but it looks like you are a bit stranded here. Your workers, you didn't hear anything from your bosses today?
No.
But why are you sitting outside? I want to buy a phone.
Yeah, the shop is closed. That's all I know. It will be open at 12 actually.
But usually when I come here in the morning, I do get to buy phone or do window shopping. Why is it that today you are opening at 12?
I don't know much. When he comes, I'll get to know whatever is happening.
No, but your bosses certainly should have communicated to you for you not to even sit here and be a bit stranded.
For that, we are cool with that. I don't have any issues sitting.
The customers who is here to service your phone, I understand, with iPhone, our Apple company. Tell us your frustration.
We just came in to see if we can have our phone serviced. And then when we got here, we found out the store was closed.
So how do you feel about that?
Very, very bad, you know.
You received no notification? You didn't hear it from the news?
Nothing, no, I didn't. So I traveled all the way from Trasaco to here to find out they are closed. So I don't know what to do.
So what basically do you think should be the headway? Because we understand the tenants are complaining about their rent, the cost of their rent.
Okay. Well, I think if that's the case, it's something they should actually sit down with the landlord and negotiate to see if they can come down to make the operations much better than, just to frustrate them in terms of their businesses.
So will you head towards a different shop instead of the Accra Mall?
I guess I should, because this is the only place I can have a service. And if they are not here, then I have to look for somewhere else.
Thank you. So you've heard the frustration of one gentleman who is here to service his phone with the Apple shop, but he's unable to do so because the shops have closed down today, basically. So come with me as we engage with other customers as well.
What I came through was to find out the cost of some things, and that's in ShopRite side, not actually from shops that are closed, which majority of them are closed.
A number of frustrated customers came in. They want to transact business, but they had no option than to leave. Fred Duho for Joy Business.
Well, in other news tonight, after trading for over 29 years on the Ghana Stock Exchange, PZ Castings is asking shareholders to approve a plan to delist from the Ghanaian bourse by the end of this year. The decision is expected to be discussed at its annual general meeting scheduled for next month. The move to delist was in PZ Castings' financial report for the year ended May 2019 and published by the Ghana Stock Exchange. Head of research at Data Bank, Alex Boyne, has been throwing some more light on the possible reasons for PZ Castings' decision, and he spoke on the marketplace earlier with my colleague Emmanuel Awaderiafe.
The list. I mean, the company is doing so voluntarily because maybe for their own strategy. But it is also important to highlight that if you look at PZ's financial results, I think for the past 5 years or so, the core consumer business hasn't performed very well. We know that the company has been undergoing some restructuring. I mean, that started, I think, 2013 or so, where they hyped up their manufacturing facilities and now rely a lot on importation from Nigeria. So they have had this issue, and that was done in anticipation that this will boost the company profitability. But unfortunately, that is not what we are seeing now on the market.
Yeah, but Alex,
now as you move, as you move from manufacturing to importing, then you are also exposing the company to the volatility of the Ghana cedi. So that has actually affected their performance. I mean, the core consumer business over the past 5 years. And the management of the company thinks that, well, at this time, they have to just get the company off the market.
Efforts by managers of the bears to increase the presence on the market. Now, is this not sending wrong signals to prospective investors?
Yeah, for sure. For sure, that is true, because I mean we are in a period where we are trying to encourage more companies to list on the stock market. So seeing PZ, which is a strong or a very popular brand in our market with some significant history in Ghana, I think is not a good signal, because looking at, but to be frank with you on that also, the company is tightly held by the parent company. In fact, Ghanaians have only 10%, just about 10% of the shares that are listed on the market. And the last time I checked, their capitalization is just about 62 million Ghana cedis.
CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, Hassan Tampoli, has revealed that a total of 45 or 4,500 jobs will be created when the cylinder recirculation model comes into effect. He assured Ghanaians, especially players in the industry, that there would not be job losses. Mr. Tampoli made the revelation during the last of public engagements at WA in the Upper West region. Rafiq Salam reports.
The National Petroleum Authority, NPA, stakeholder engagement with members of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs is the last phase of the cylinder recirculation model, CRM, regional engagement. The event is part of the nationwide exercise to engage members of the public about the policy, their contributions or feedback on how together they can roll out a policy that addresses the needs of the consumer. Members of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs and Queen Mothers of the various provinces and divisional areas were joined by heads of decentralized departments, personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service, and some leaders of identifiable groups in the region. The goal of the policy is to ensure that at least 50% of Ghanaians have access to safe, clean and environmental friendly LPG for increased domestic, commercial and industrial usage by 2030. Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority, Hassan Tampoli, explains further.
So the main purpose of the policy again is for us to deepen penetration of LPG distribution consumption from the current 25% to 50% in the next 11 years. And we believe this is achievable in the sense that we will no longer be carrying our cylinders to various refill points, but the cylinders will be made available to us in our various homes, offices, in our towns, communities, villages, and wherever we are. You don't need to carry your cylinder and go for filling. You just take the empty cylinder to a distribution outlet and pick a filled cylinder.
Hassan Tampul revealed that by the time the policy is implemented, they will have added 4,500 jobs to the already existing jobs in the country.
We envisage that by the time that we are fully rolled out, at the very least, we will be adding not less than 4,500 jobs to the existing jobs. That, for me, I think is not negotiable. Any policy that will lead to job losses, as far as the government of the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is concerned, is unacceptable. The President would only be convinced that a policy is worth pursuing if only it will lead to job creation and not job losses.
Though his revelation of additional 4,500 jobs may have sounded good and pleasing for the ears of the unemployed, it still somehow elicited further applause from a section of the audience, especially the LPG Marketers Association of Ghana. Vice President of the association, Gabriel Kumi, will wish those players who toil for the growth of the industry are fully protected and their jobs enhanced.
And it's just fair that when a new policy is being introduced, those who have toiled to build the industry are fully protected and their job enhanced. We can agree to the fact that the policy, when fully implemented, may create some additional jobs. But we dare say that the additional job could only be sustained with good programs which support sustainability and growth of the current industry players. Therefore, there is a need to ensure that investment jobs of indigenous Ghanaians who have built the industry and who have raised the LPG penetration level from 0 to 25% currently is not only fully protected, but adequately enhanced.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam.
Now, reclamation of land degraded by illegal mining is set to receive a major boost as the Forest Research Institute outdoors 3 heavy metal-absorbing tree species. The 3 species, both indigenous and exotic, selected after rigorous study, are said to also have the capacity to stabilize soil for agricultural production. Lead researcher Dr. Kwesidria Jemfi says uncontrolled galamsey across the country remains a major environmental concern.
I think the major reason for us to actually undertake this research was to respond to the need for restoration and to identify very environmental friendly techniques for restoring the environment, whilst communities can also gain something from the research. So generally, the research was planned first to understand the context within which we have to leverage research inputs, and secondly, we also wanted to test potential species that are known for phytoremediation to correct environmental degradation. So that is all what the research is about. We thought that we should do it in stages. The first stage will be to do some preliminary work, which will be basic researcher-managed experiments. And when we have actually clarified a few issues, we can now move on to step two, where we do farmer-managed trials. So some community members give us a list of names of lands that have been degraded, which they wish to be restored.
Mining galamsey is a topical issue degrading our forests, and we want to complement the government's effort of rehabilitating, claiming these sites. Therefore, we need to screen more species to identify their phytoremediation potential and use them for such a cause. Yeah, we targeted 5 heavy metals: mercury, lead, cadmium, nickel, and arsenic, the heavy ones. And after our preliminary research, which was about 10 months, we found out that Milicia excelsa, Nuclear Dideroca, and Semia had remarkable potential for absorbing cadmium and lead.
Okay, so Aker Energy and partners are taking steps to preserve the ocean, plus Nokia's shares crashed 20% as the company struggles to compete in the race to 5G. Those are some of the stories in our summaries tonight.
Private lotto operators and agents have called for the urgent need for government to come out with a policy framework for private lotto operations in the country. The operators are of the view that this would help end an impasse between them and the National Lottery Authority. The Aker Group, REV Ocean, and the Resource Group on Wednesday announced a joint pledge of $11 million to 3 initiatives dedicated to developing disruptive technology solutions for a healthy and productive ocean. A statement signed by the head of communications of Aker Group said the initiatives will contribute towards preservation and sustainable use of the ocean and marine resources through strong private sector engagement and technology drives. The 18th edition of the annual Ghana Club 100 Awards, organized by the Ghana Investment Promotion Center (GIPC), has been scheduled for Friday, November 15th at the Kempinski Gold Coast Hotel. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is expected to attend. Sustainable agriculture, the bedrock of Ghana's industrialization drive, is the theme chosen for this year's awards. Nokia is struggling to keep pace with its rivals in the race to 5G. The Finnish telecoms equipment maker on Thursday cut its profits outlook for this year and the next and scrapped dividend payments. It's warned investors of slumping orders in China and intense competition for 5G sales. Regulatory reforms in Togo and Nigeria propelled the sub-Saharan African economies to among the most improved in the World Bank's rankings for ease of doing business. Togo rocketed 40 places to 97, according to the report released Wednesday in Washington.
All right, those are your summaries tonight. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. More on that story concerning the shops being closed at Accra Mall temporarily in protest against high rent. You can go to our website, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Daryl Kwao. Thanks for watching. We'll be back same time tomorrow.